if you are one of those who silently sat there and somehow you felt a little bit unsettled, I mean, we've had a lot of silent watchers on MaiyegunSDiary Politico. Some of them, they do send their own messages. Earlier, that makes it look like we are going to have audio problems, right? And then happy Thanksgiving to you, Americans and America. In America, then Americans, Americanos. Happy Thanksgiving. That's what the African Rockstar TV called it. Thank you very much, anyway, for joining me. Tonight, we are going to continue from where we stopped since we started the expose on the latest propaganda of APC. Egbekegbe. I don't know where you are on this matter right now, but if you are among those who possibly felt like when Maiyegun said, this dear news about Port Harcourt Refinery was a charm, and it was a lie, outrightly, because it was easier to know, by the way, because we were raising some questions which I postulated on this platform 2 days ago. It didn't take long before the whole lie got busted. So if you are one of those who silently sat there and somehow you felt a little bit unsettled, I mean, we've had a lot of silent watchers on MaiyegunSDiary Politico. Some of them, they do send their own messages after the program to express their, disappointment, their disgust, and some other things that they try to push. And usually it is not during the live broadcast. I have been dealing with APC, Egbekegbe, at least for the past 10 years. Their journey to capturing Nigeria, and to when they captured Nigeria, and to when they destroyed Nigeria, I have been there. If I was studying APC, Egbekegbe, and their antics, their games, I would be a professor by now. I will have a master's degree. Yes, I'll probably have like about 2-3 master's degree on top APC. So if I tell you anything about them, I don't know the level at which their propaganda worked on you. But if I tell you something about APC, Egbekegbe, the ideal thing is not to get mad. Okay? Because I know them very well. I know APC, Egbekegbe, very, very well. I know about their lies. I know about their blackmails. I know about their propaganda to start with, right? And I know much more about their gaslighting. I know a lot about them trying to also be politically correct, or their victims being politically correct. I know so much about APC. Egbekegbe. I know so much about the antics of the likes of Thiefnubu and gang. And I know a lot about the Ronukus of today, the bad idiots of today, the bad start, the Lagos Abobakus, the Oshogbo Alimajiris, the crumb eaters, the crumb chasers, the ass lickers. I even know the Abrodian Abobakus, the Mumumadus, the Bele lecturers, the Mumu lecturers. I know how they think. I know how they reason. And I know when they gaslight people. I know a lot about them. And that's why I'm very much like straightforward to tell you that I don't like them. They don't like me, and I don't like them too. It's only when they come when they disguise as neutral people, because I have had few of them on my platform who few times they've pretended to be neutral, okay, in trying to want me to reason with APC, and I'm like, you cannot pretend on MaiyegunSDiary Politico when I know I can easily tell where you belong when the matter of APC, Egbekegbe, comes up. And most of the time, there are some people who are like innocently, maybe not so innocent, but yeah, you can give that to them, innocently want to give APC, a benefit of the doubt, don't try it. You don't understand. Anything that has to do with Thiefnubu, Bokwari, APC, do not give them any benefit of the doubt. Don't try it. You will regret it. Maybe we should just, let us be positive. Don't try it. Because what they actually feed fat on is people's, emotion. In Nigeria, people hardly use their heads. They use their emotions. So when people start talking about, this is our country, it's our only country, we should all try, and instead of you to say something positive, instead of you to wish Nigeria well, say, if wishes were horses, beggars will ride now. If prayers were if prayers is what built countries, right? Nigeria will be the most beautiful, the safest country in the world, the richest country in the world as well. So, but APC knows about this gullibility of Nigerians. So if you want to innocently give APC the benefit of the doubt on whatever they say to you, if APC tells you good morning, Baba, open the window and check outside and make sure it is morning, you can't trust them, not even for an inch. Unfortunately, they have people who have always wanted their lies to be truth. And those are the Ronukus who come onto MaiyegunsDiary Politico to call us enemy of Nigeria, while they are actually supporting the real enemies of Nigeria, the enemies of the people, the destroyers, the ruiners of Nigeria. The people whose actions and inactions destroyed Nigeria, divided Nigeria, impoverished Nigeria, and make Nigeria unsafe for anyone. Your gullibility does work for those of you who actually speaks for them. But before I say something about these guys, what I usually do is that I do a lot of research. It's not that outrightly I just kind of, even though I should, not that outrightly I just feel like they are lying. But when I try to want to find out more about what they say, it doesn't take much time before I realize that this is again Jare. This is a lie. It doesn't make any sense. And you know me, once I figured it out that this doesn't make any sense, I am always right about APC. Whatever they are involved in, anything APC is involved in, all of them combined, whether they are like a local government chairman or councillors or lawmakers or governors or presidents, everything that has to do with them is a lie, total lies. And that's very sad, okay? Because these are the people making decisions, important decisions for that contraption. So those who are telling you lies about their tax reform right now, and some of you are buying it, you will come back here with full of regrets, because I am the only person who can tell you in a layman's words, understanding, that don't waste your time trying to want to give them the benefit of the doubt. It is all fraud. You will regret it. It will end in regrets. 2.5 days ago, let's say 3 days ago, they uploaded a video. They said, Port Harcourt Refinery is live. Was that? That doesn't look right. It seems that they just put on a generator in this place, so this doesn't look real, right? Okay, maybe we should wait till morning so that we can possibly give it another few days when they will start refining crude oil in their refinery. I've been following. Meanwhile, I had my suspicion, truly. I was like, these guys imported 927 million liters of petrol from Malta just this month. They spent over $970 million just this month. Why would they go and spend that? When they know that the refinery they are working on is probably going to start work soon, I was there, waiting. Okay, let's wait till tomorrow morning first. The following morning, they announced that they are already loading trucks. They will be loading trucks, 200 trucks a day. Refinery that on the one where you put on last night, it don't quickly refine millions of liters of petrol. That's all I had to know. That's all I needed to know. Then we waited. When they started moving their trucks in, loading, they called the cameramen and all of that. Ashiriti too, everything don't expose now. So if you are here 2 days ago, watching me from that your bedroom, I've been you're inside your office, I'll be your living room, and you felt like I am the one who has a bad belly for that contraption, for exposing their lies. Well, it has finally come to light that it is all lies, scams. And these guys were supposed to actually be tried for economic treason in that country. So yesterday, the guys who loaded their trucks came out and said, what they sold to us is more expensive. It's more expensive than Dangote. How can something you produce in your own country be more expensive? Landing cost. Did you pay landing cost? Nonsense, for God's sake. I predicted that in order for them to deceive all of una better, go and check down my broadcast. I said they probably will sell it cheaper to make it look like they were actually refined it in Port Harcourt. Only for them to come out and say, it's 75%, 75 naira more than Dangote refinery. Nonsense. You know what they said? They came out today. They said, the loading, we are loading from Port Harcourt refinery. We have not attached price to that. Now, this is the scam. This is the scam. And this is one thing about them. Whenever they are caught, they will double down. They will double down. And they know they have their moguls. They have their ass lickers, crumb chasers. That will actually take whatever they say to them and go to town to ram it down your throat. If you disagree, you are the enemy. You loaded people's trucks from Port Harcourt refinery that started working. You did not attach price. That's what they are saying now. They said, oh, no, we didn't attach price. We just gave it to those people like that so that later we'll go and think of how much we are going to sell. In fact, the ones we are selling now, they are the ones we bought from Dangote. That's a different story. I still remember when they were loading the truck 2 days ago. Yari.
It's enough, we can't go up. No, it cannot go up. No, you cannot go. I cannot see what they're doing.
They want to speak in Sabi. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
So welcome everyone. These are loaded country.
This camera stream?
Yes, it's one streaming. Yes.
Okay, it's one stream. Can go there. I think this place is really feeling weak.
Yeah.
So just only you. Please stop anybody from coming. You can hear the vibration.
This is our loading bay now. We are about to load all these trucks you are seeing. These trucks are 33,000 liters capacity. So we have started loading. We want to demonstrate that we can load. Can we please put it on?
So like this compartment now, 20,000 liters, second compartment that's already been programmed from the three.
Please help me give the guy. Let's see Mike was like something. Precious, collect the mic.
It's already programmed. Second compartment, 6,000. So now I have pressed that. The valve will open in 3 seconds for the compartment to start loading. The compartment we are loading now 20,000 liters. It has already started. The valve is now counting down 20,000 for the second compartment.
So thank you very much.
Thank
you. Want to complete? No, thank you. Accurate measurement.
In case the digital does not work, unlikely event that it does not work, you go to analog.
My name is Koolu.
Chairman of Politico Refinery.
I am here to
Thank you for giving me the opportunity.
I can hear. I think the other side.
The true story behind what really happened that day is kind of like coming out now. I'm going to share that with you. They called the boys who have just been like redundant at the refinery, old refinery, that a guy is coming tomorrow. They want to come and make some display here. So everybody, prepare that place, make it look ready for Oga. So everybody started clearing everywhere. Everybody started running left, right, and center, up and down, to make sure that all the places they will take camera to, they will appear like they are walking. They brought in trucks like these guys. So the entire place, if you pay attention, you will realize that the entire place doesn't look like anywhere they've carried out any form of refurbishment per se. But the propaganda worked. Thiefnubu congratulated them. And Thiefnubu and co. They started taking glory for it. They said the next one that must start working now is Warri Refinery, Kaduna Refinery. Renewed shaggy agenda is working now. Well, people who knows better released some internal memo that actually showed that there is no working refinery in Port Harcourt. There is a segment of it where they are doing blending. Blending is not refining crude oil. It's like, have you been to pastry shop before? You know that thing where they take mixed flour, where they make mixed flour, sugar, yeast, and all those things that they take, to make a cake. So that's exactly a section in that place where they were blending some harmful chemicals, plus the imported petrol, blending them to adulterated fuel. All right? And then they told the whole country that the refinery they spent $1.5 billion have started working. But did you see the environment? Did that place look like those who were working inside the place, working with the engineers that are just like probably just playing around? They were supposed to be fixing the entire refinery to make it work. The refinery that was built in 1975, that was like 50 years ago, 49 years ago. So they had no plan of making any refinery work per se. But if they can be blending these strange, harmful chemicals together to duplicate or multiply the amount of petrol or PMS they will sell to you, adulterated fuel, they can tell all of you that the refinery is working. But here is somebody who decided to say, I don't want to say they are lying. So if something is not true, then it is a lie. There is no in between.
Community pressing that it was just a mere show we had on Tuesday at the Port Harcourt depot. A mere show in the sense that the Port Harcourt refinery, we call it Area 5, that is the old refinery, is merely on skeletal operation. When I say skeletal, some units were recently brought up and is running. Not the entire unit of the old refinery is functional as we speak. Very slow. I will give them the credit that at least they have started something, but not to say that, according to the chief head of corporate communication of the NNPC Limited, they have put it on the media that they are already producing 1,400,000 barrels per day. That's not the case. That's not true. It's a very big, I don't want to use the word lie, but as an agency that are holding the oil industry on trust for Nigerians, they shouldn't put out some of this information that are not true. The true picture of what happened on Tuesday is that the NNPC has been under pressure to televise to Nigerians that everything is okay, and then that the old refinery has started functioning. I can tell you that the GMD, or the CEO, as it were for now, was in Port Harcourt since Monday. The other MDs were also in Port Harcourt. The MD of Port Harcourt Refinery and those heading the operations department, they didn't sleep through the night of Monday breaking Tuesday because of this whole event they had on Tuesday. What was the true picture? The old Port Harcourt Refinery is built with its own utilities, different from the new Port Harcourt Refinery. In terms of tank farm, the tank farm that is servicing the old Port Harcourt Refinery has a different loading gantry at the depot. The party they had on Tuesday was held at the new loading gantry that is directly connected to the new refinery. And so, how does that work? It's impossible. They went there because the storage facility for the old refinery had some stock, old stock, that has been there for over 3 years. And so what they had, they released that stock and then loaded 6 trucks and then televised it to Nigerians that is the production from the old refinery, Port Harcourt refinery. That is not true. That is not true, Dr. Abate. And so I like Nigerians to know the truth. Okay. But they don't need to believe me, because Nigerians, no matter how you paint the true pictures to them, they get sentimental, they get tribal, they want to whip some sentiment and all that. The product that was loaded, and let it be on record that it was only 6 trucks. According to them, they put so many the data out there, but it was only 6 trucks. They were using it to calibrate the new loading gantry. But it's not a new refined product from the old refinery. That is not. I think that is the status we have. As at yesterday, they also loaded. But let me shock you, Dr. Abate. If we are celebrating that the Port Harcourt old refinery is already functional, how come they loaded only 4 trucks of product the whole day? I mean, starting from 7 a.m., that work resumes at the Port Harcourt depot. It was only 4 trucks that was loaded till about 8 at night. Only 4. And these 4 trucks were actually under the loading bay areas. They were loading them, and they say it's automated. How can you have a truck under a bay for more than 6 hours under an automated system? Back in the years, when we had manual loading system, it doesn't take 45 minutes for one 30,000 or 33,000 liters of truck to be fully loaded. You can ask from any operational staff or any person that has been at the depot area. Manual system loads a truck for about 45 minutes. So fully automated, fully rehabilitated, and then you tell us it's 70% operational, and then you're loading 4 trucks for a whole day. 1 truck staying under the loading gantry for more than 6 to 7 hours. Who are we deceiving, Dr. Abate? I think that is the clear picture of the whole event at the Port Harcourt depot, and by extension, the Port Harcourt refinery. Thank you, Dr. Abate.
All right.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. At least you, the Abrodian Ronuku, that is pointing fingers, gaslighting people as bad belly. Now, if you want to say the truth now, who are the enemies of Nigeria? Between the people that refused to buy into the lies, or those that decided to cook these massive lies for millions of people in that contraption without any consequences? Who is the enemy of Nigeria? I know I can't hear you, but I want you to say it. Because some of you, Olori Burukwe does. I said it the other day. I said, sometimes when they say these lies, a lot of you want the lies to be true. And when it is not, you will disappear. You will disappear. We'll not go see you again. Your itchy fingers will no longer be able to type anymore. To show to us that we are the ones who don't wish Nigeria well. So now, what we are now hearing them saying is, they have not started, they have not started selling the refined crude oil from the Port Harcourt Refinery. They said the ones they sold to people, they were the ones they bought from Dangote some months back. See, if I no be saying across the worry now. In October, they loaded trucks at the Dangote Refinery in Lagos. We saw the trucks, about 40 or so trucks. So are you saying they now drove from Lagos to Port Harcourt and they offloaded the trucks they loaded from Dangote Refinery in Lagos? They offloaded it inside the tank farm in Port Harcourt. They now called other truckers to come, they want to sell. Is that not what they will say they are? Is that not what that means they are telling us right now? Have you seen the news? Yeah, they said that they haven't decided the price yet. The price of how much they will sell the refined PMS from Port Harcourt. That's what the NNPCL is saying now. They said, all of you are just overreacting. You don't understand how these things work. We are selling the old stock, the one we bought from Dangote few months back. So they loaded trucks from Dangote in Lagos, NNPCL. They now drove all the way from Lagos to Port Harcourt to offload the trucks inside the tank. Is that your final answer? Olórí burúkú nìyí. Àti olórí burúkú lecturer tó wà ní Michigan, àṣírí ẹ̀dá, olórí burúkú ẹ̀dá, ẹ máa ṣòfò ní tìrantìran. Here is how somebody felt about the whole news.
I don't know why Nigerians are the easiest people to deceive. In as much as I understand that the most intelligent brains on earth are Nigerians, you all will also agree with me that the most gullible and dumbest of creatures can also be found in Nigerians. Yes, now, how can Nigerians be this fooled over and over and again, and yet, every time you are told the same lie they've told you in the past, you celebrate it? On what ground? What news is this one that is making the rounds? People are jubilating, celebrating that Port Harcourt Refinery has commenced operation. I don't get it. I've seen one or two persons over the media few days now celebrating, giving credit to Ebola Tinubu that the haters will not appreciate that. Port Harcourt Refinery begins operation. Is that a news? Did that start today? Port Harcourt Refinery has continuously begins operation since 2015. In case you forgot, let me show you this. Fuel importation to reduce as Port Harcourt refineries, Port Harcourt and Warri refineries begins operation. This was announced on September 2nd, 2015, shortly after Muhammadu Buhari took charge of affairs. And it was an applaud. People were applauding, say, yes, the Messiah is here. We said it. Just barely few months into power, one refinery has commenced operation. And I said then, I told people then, if that refinery commenced operation by September, whereas Buhari just took power in May, please give the credit to Jonathan. Maybe he has almost finished the job. Little did I know that it was all lies then. That refinery never worked. Then again, we were told that the Port Harcourt and Warri refineries have resumed production of fuel. This was said by Kachuku, and he made this announcement on April 25th, 2016. As I'm saying it, I'm displaying it. I guess you are seeing it on the screen. Odalo is not the one cooking the story. And then again, in 2023, by 21st of December, we were told that Port Harcourt Refinery recommences operation after years of shutdown. This was also celebrated again. This was in December 2023. Then come March 2024, on the 15th of March, this very year, we were told again that 450,000 barrels of crude has been supplied to the Port Harcourt Refinery, and the operations will begin in April. This announcement was made on the 15th of March 2024. Now, in November 2024, people are celebrating, having been told that the Port Harcourt Refinery has resumed again. Because it's a refinery that keep resuming. See, Nigerians, when we go wise, as far as Odalo is concerned, Nigerians will believe, Nigerians will know when any refinery in Nigeria commence operation depending on the price of petrol pump price. The petroleum pump price should tell Nigerians if refinery in Nigeria has resumed operation. Call it the Port Harcourt Refinery, call it the Warri Refinery, call it the Dangote Refinery. As much as the pump price is very high, no refinery in Nigeria is functioning. Because their reasons is that cost of importation, dollar exchange, forex rate, landing cost and all of that is the reason why we are buying fuel more expensive. So if fuel is being produced locally by any of these refinery, the pump price should indicate that. Only then can Nigerians say, okay, we are now producing fuel. Not this nonsense they tell you every now and then. They just tell you on the news and you celebrate, and a few days later, it's being swept away and nobody goes back to say, we were told last week that this refinery is working and we are not getting the effect. Nigerians don't know how to ask questions.
I'm highly disappointed of Nigerian government because the Nigerian government were highly disappointed in them due to foreseen circumstances. Definitely, I'm one of those people approving. People should die in coronavirus is more better than people should die in hungers. Hunger kills more than coronavirus because some people are less privileged. Due to foreseen circumstances that I said it, some people are less privileged, which they are based on daily pay, which are.
Nigeria is so corrupt, which I regret the day I was born in this country. It's unfair. This is unfair now. This is unfair. Nigeria is so corrupt, which I regret the day I was born in this country. It's unfair. This is unfair now. This is unfair.
Of our greedy leaders. Oh, thunder, where are you? This is the time you are supposed to strike, so that you eliminate all of them, so that you have peace in our nation. Or join them in one aeroplane, so that it will crash land in the course of their agenda. Furthermore, our security agenda.
So you are looking at me, I'm looking at you right now. The same Port Harcourt Refinery that kept resuming operation. Some of us were asking, is Port Harcourt Refinery aware that he has resumed production, he has resumed operation? Some people were asking that 2 days ago when they said Port Harcourt Refinery has resumed operation. Is the refinery aware? Is it aware that he is resuming operation? But because they know that Nigerians have what is called Stockholm Syndrome. And it is deliberate for some people. They have been lied to again and again and again and again. That they are so desperate that they want the lies to be true. So if you therefore try to tell them that it's a lie, they will say you are the enemy of Nigeria. You don't want progress for Nigeria. You are not happy. Enemy of progress. You are not happy. Yeah, 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 yeah. And the criminal politicians in Nigeria, they are the luckiest in the world. Oh, so lucky, man. They are so lucky. That Nigerians are intentionally gullible. That Nigerians are intentionally or voluntarily slaves. And they will play the card again and again. This is for November 2024. They'll go play the card again by maybe March or April 2025. Port Harcourt Refinery will resume again in April. Then it will resume again before December 2025. Then it will resume again in 2026, 2027, and on like that. It will keep resuming and resuming. even when the refinery itself probably is not aware. So when you see Ronukus on social media calling you enemy of this, enemy of Nigeria, you know what I mean? They are the same set of people that defended Boko Haram. They are the ones who said that by the time Boko Haram's reform is concluded, Nigeria will be the greatest country. But by the time Boko Haram was done, they emptied they emptied the Nigerian treasury, emptied the Central Bank of Nigeria, dipped Nigeria in 100 years of indebtedness, poverty, corruption, terrorism, name it. That's exactly what Boko Haram left for Nigeria. Thiefnubu is there right now, turning your lives again to hell. And the Ronukus, the Ronu Nazis, the Konus, they are doing the same job. They are the ones who metamorphosed from Buhari Diderins. They are the ones who changed the Buhari idiot. They are the ones who changed to Bat idiots today. Don't let anybody gaslight you. Okay? If anybody wants to gaslight you for saying it exactly the way it is, just remember that as a blessed member of the temple of truth, you have nothing to fear. Stay your truth and let those low lives, those sewage dwellers, those ass lickers, let them run for their lives. Don't be ashamed of facing them, confronting them, because they are the real enemies of the people, enemies of that contraption. And their days are numbered. It's just a matter of time. So the same Koolu is in France right now, doing his usual bulaba, bala blue, again. But we all know why he is there. They do. I think one Ronuku, I don't know where the Olori Bluku comes from. You see, I have said it many times, so that if you come to MaiyegunsDiary Politico, maybe this is your first time, maybe this is your second time, I don't know. I am not your regular YouTuber. So I need you to understand this. If you just stumble on MaiyegunsDiary Politico, and somehow you felt like you are not comfortable with my usage of word, or suddenly you are looking for respect for criminals, maybe it's because you are new. So I saw a message of one Olori Bruku Eda like that per se, who said that this is not how to, because I was talking about Thiefnubu and then Macron, and I used the word press idiot for the two of them, right? And I think it felt like I should show some respect. I should not be, this is not how to create content for YouTube.
Ẹni òfò ni ẹ ṣòfò láyé ẹ tún ṣe lálìkìyámà ẹ̀yin rádaràda wọ̀nyí. Ẹni òfò ni ẹ ṣòfò láyé ẹ tún ṣe lálìkìyámà ẹ̀yin rádaràda wọ̀nyí.
Whatever I say, it is not a slip. I don't do slip of tongue. I don't do political correctness. I don't respect criminals. Okay? And nothing that comes out of my mouth is a slip. Ah, that's a slip of tongue. Oh, that's a guy. I know they do slip of tongue. Is because I see you as Olori Bruku Neo. Do you understand? If you take offense, it is because somehow you have maybe soft spots somewhere inside you for these criminals. But if you don't have any relationship with them, you can never take offense in what I say. I just want you to know, me on slip of tongue. I no get script to, no be say the right script to come and do program. I speak straight from my own mind, you know. So if you take offense, because yes, that is the reason why I'm here. I offend people for a living. Yeah, I do. Just get you offended. You can deliver your message without being salty. You can do your program without being disrespectful. We are talking about people that are destroying people's lives. And they are irresponsible enough never to take responsibility. They think they are actually doing us a favor. So you want me to respect who? What about the feel offended? It's because somehow you have soft spot for these criminals. You can never have any problem with me if you don't actually have any feelings for these rogues. Whether not your pastor, whether not your imam, whether not your, even if not your papa, be one of them. You don't deserve any respect from anybody. So if you sit there, you are watching me, and you feel offended, I understand. It's because somehow, where I come from, unfortunate people will be on stage. You will be seated like this. And when they are cursing the unfortunate people, you go there, you go to receive your curse, and you will become uncomfortable. That is the purpose. We can't stone you. We can't burn you at stake. Right? So we can't really do what is inside of us. But for using the word of mouth to beat you and beat all of you, including those of you who are politicians and their supporters, all of you supporting them, all right? If that makes you uncomfortable, that means we are doing well. You know? And I always advise people who love to be politically correct. Advise me, don't ever advise me. Why don't you just, you can still the decisions of these guys and what they are actually doing, there are real life victims, including children. Yeah, including children who have become victims of all this, bad governance or bad leadership, you can call it, or bad government, as you can call it. So you want us to respect them and speak about them like fancily about. So if you watch Maiyegun, and you feel so uncomfortable, great. Stop watching it. Right? Thiefnubu is in France. And I've just been told that what I told you last night about why he went to France, it is not just the truth. In fact, it's just a tip of why he's in France. France is planning to invade these countries. These CES countries, right? The Burkina Faso, Mali, and then Niger. They actually have their ship docked somewhere in this, West African countries as well, where they have docked their forces, and they just need an ally that is going to make it easier for them to use Nigeria as a launch pad. But Thiefnubu is in France, where they are kind of making him feel like a royalty like this. don't package am. See, the country again is very, very massive, big, like country, like Nigerian. So when it comes here, we make him feel like, so welcome, like make him feel big. So that's where we tell him what we want him to do for us. He would not dispute it, so to say. Because Princess, because Macron was saying something here. I'll tell you what they told me he said. It's about Nigeria, Africa, prosperity, security, and businesses, all that nonsense. Thiefnubu was standing there, like saying they hear him.
De l'accueil qui m'avait été réservé lors de ma visite au Nigeria en juillet 2018. Comme vous le savez, ce n'était pas exactement la première fois que je me rendais dans votre pays où j'ai eu la chance de séjourner il y a maintenant une vingtaine d'années. Alors depuis un peu plus de 10 ans, notre relation a pris un relief singulier et une nouvelle dimension. Et je veux particulièrement saluer la force de nos liens économiques, alors que nous sortons à l'instant même du Conseil d'affaires franco-nigérian et que vous ouvrirez demain avec vos ministres un important forum d'affaires. Vous êtes en train de conduire des réformes uniques dans l'histoire du pays et vous, votre gouvernement, est en train de transformer très profondément l'économie nigériane. C'est pourquoi la France, au-delà des relations historiques qui sont les nôtres et de la place qui est déjà la nôtre dans les secteurs de l'énergie, dans d'autres, nous voulons faire encore davantage dans l'agro-industrie, dans les nouvelles technologies. Et nous avons, avec le Président et ses ministres, défini plusieurs lignes d'action nouvelles pour l'investissement des entreprises françaises au Nigeria, évidemment dans le domaine de l'énergie, dans le domaine des métaux rares et minéraux critiques nécessaires au développement des nouvelles technologies.
Focus Nigerian, focus economic, technology, Nigerian, wo, Obata, if France. Hello, pass question. Go collect pass question from Burkina Faso, Niger, and then Mali. The way is there standing like when they say a baby t-shirt, kind of. They are talking about economic Nigerian, the president Nigerian, Vivek, you know, Iran, shall you get me now? Alwala ologbo ni o. When you see a cat, they do ablution. Ogbon ati keran je ni o, and Koolu won't mind you as long as they are going to give him his own cuts. A good sell off now. Problem can be pay the whole China, the whole World Bank, IMF. This one's not the borrow person money per se. They're not the France, not the borrow person money. What they usually do is that one to the second time economically. But according to Thiefnubu, he was there with his Bambi Alabo. Like how Africa is very poor, children are out of school, so many children are going to bed hungry. Nigeria is open for business. Every business you can come, you know. I don't know how to quote Thiefnubu, so I'd rather make I warn you ahead. Okay, so Thiefnubu is going to talk next, so maybe you should please don't leave and say you'll come back later. Okay, so I've cut it into two so that the whole thing will not look like I am trying to traumatize you, okay, or give you PTSD again. But here is Thiefnubu's response. So all of that, Nigerian president and all of that nonsense there, his response.
Le gouvernement français, mais également l'ensemble du monde entrepreneurial et créatif, d'investir massivement et de faire du Nigeria un grand partenaire pour aujourd'hui et pour demain. Merci de votre présence à Paris et merci de tout cela.
Your Excellency, I'm very happy that today is taking place. There is, like I said earlier on, sunshine in Paris, beautiful city. I express my gratitude to warm reception and hospitality that have been accorded to us since we arrived, this great nation. The Nigerian business role is so important, and trade and investment has been integral to this partnership. As discussed earlier on, we need to do more, promote more, invest more in very important areas. Food security is one of them. We cannot but invest in one another's economy. As Nigerian financial sector is involving in the France environment. Thank you for creating the conducive environment for them to flourish, and we are creating the same grant for investment in Nigeria economy for the French national. In the area of food security, it is a must. An hungry population is an unrestful population. And we hold it a responsibility by all of us to put together a food security program for private sector investors to come in, invest with the risk, the fears that they may have. We've been working on stabilizing the security system in Nigeria, and we are getting closer and closer. We are doing better now in the area of security. I can assure all the investors here that Nigeria is open for business. And I thank you for your collaboration. Vital to this is the education of our children. We have a vibrant youth population that is well educated and ready to be trained, skilled, and development of our economy. This, I will emphasize that we need the French expert and investment to do more in this area to help develop our youth population. As your intelligence, to further de-risk the opportunity in solid mineral. We have this potential to diversify our economy from fossil fuel. Yes, we agree. The need for deepening.
Le gouvernement français, mais également l'ensemble du monde entrepreneurial.
Ọlọ́run ọba, kí ni mo kí lè ṣe mí? Ta ni mo ṣẹ̀ o, kí lè ṣe mí? Ta ni mo ṣẹ̀ o? Because sometimes that's how some people feel, including me. They say, Ọlọ́run ọba, kí lè ṣe mí? Ta ni mo ṣẹ̀ o? Tó fi dá mi sí Nàìjíríà, ta ni mo ṣẹ̀ o? Kí lè ṣe mí? What exactly is my sin that you cannot forgive me, that you have to actually create me and send me to that contraption called Nigeria? Wetin I do you? I know I've actually heard people say that a lot of time, but nobody chooses where to be born. You know, I've seen Nigerians who will say, Omo, I wish I am created as a lamppost in Atlanta instead of being a Nigerian. Have you heard that before? When Nigerians are talking about they would rather be a dog in Antarctica than come back to this world again and be a Nigerian. Even though some will tell you that I would still want to come back to this world again and be a Nigerian. They are lying, you know. But that's a Koolu there talking to France or talking to Macron. He said, we create indulgence to further the risk in natural resources, investment to diversify the economy. You know, they make sense. It be like person will get mental health problem. If they do mental check, number one, Thiefnubu no go be your president. He go there asylum, whether they treat mad people will get mental problem. But in Nigeria, if you don't get mental problem, you can't actually, you know, run in their politics in that place. It's like the lunatics, when the lunatics takes over the asylum. That's exactly what the situation in Nigeria has become. He's talking about vibrant youth, the ones that he's never invested in. He's talking about, in fact, let me let him finish because I can't really quote him. But it's Bambi Allah of, we are hungry, we are poor, we are hungry. So we need to do more, investors to do more. Investors should come to Nigeria and all of that. He says that everywhere he goes, but unfortunately, nobody is listening to him. Nobody is going to that place.
Deepening the environment, but a starved nation will not care what weather or environment brings. But no child should go to bed hungry in the world, 21st century. We need to collaborate further for that. The agriculture sector is a very potential, a good example. If you de-risk and promote, you know, investment in dairy. If an African child is given a pint of milk in a class 100, there will be no problem going to the classroom. If an African child is assured of a good sandwich in a classroom, or 1 egg a day, there will be no fear of learning. The more educated his population will be, the better and well-trained society. We have this responsibility that is unique to fighting terrorism. And no matter how much you invest in other African countries, if you don't take Nigeria for a serious country and a partner in your crusade, you won't achieve the results. Nigeria is ready to partner with France so that we will have a very robust security operation that will stop migration. In Lagos, for example, we have tamed the Atlantic Ocean so far, and we are still, promoting marine and blue economy. Fishery is an important aspect of our economic potential. We need to collaborate
more on that. On defense industry, yes, I really appreciate what you shared with us and the promise for the future. I want to say thank you very much for all the promises that we made today. And we assure the investing community that Nigeria is open for business. We assure you of a free market economy, easy in, easy out, no hindrance. Thank you very much.
Nuisance lele.
Long compare punish away on him. Koolu said they are deepening the environment. I don't know what that means. He said, we don't care for what the environment is doing in that statement, so incoherently. He said, but no child to go to bed hungry. Then he also said, but we must collaborate further in agriculture. Then he said, if an African child is given a pint of milk, he will want to go to school. He said, there will be no problem of going to classroom. If an African child is given an egg or a sandwich, there will be no problem of going to classroom. So we must do something together in that. He said, we also want your indulgence to further the risk of the environment. I don't know what that means. Then he also said, we are doing the robust security to curb immigration. I don't know what that means. Then he also said, in Lagos, we have tamed the Atlantic Ocean, where we are also doing blue marine economy. So investors should come in, easy in, easy out. That means bring your money, you can make your money easy in, easy out. Even the way they try, we won't try to interpret self. Shame you to confuse you, right? Are you not confused? Nigeria will make it. These guys. What's about to ball like Stephanie? As I Stephanie, just Stephanie in French. Stephanie. Nigerian, Stephanie. Nigeria, finish. You know? But they don't care. They don't care how the blabber is talking. They don't care. What really matters is that he is there. And that he is there. He can, you know, he can possibly share some secrets with them. Some of them that can be used, you know, to further the agenda of France in West Africa. They will give him weapons to possibly crush any form of uprising, revolution in Nigeria. They will be, that's one thing they can always give to him. Then he's talking about the resources in Nigeria. So he's ready to possibly allow the French companies to walk straight into Nigeria, since they are already, they've been mostly chased out of, you know, their, what do you call it, their colonies, where they have been milking the people for decades. So for Koolu, all is fair, as long as they can pay the price. Let's leave France for now and come back to Nigeria, where they are slugging it out on Thiefnubu's tax reform. And the tax reform is basically Thiefnubu's promise to the IMF and World Bank that if you give us loan, we will pay you back. We will strangulate all these people. They go pay. You will not go pay. So they are using all the fancy word. They are using the media. They are making it be like, drink this poison. Now for your own good. this is the best policy, this tax reform, now so that they do them for the rest of the world. It's a very, very great idea. So anyone who is opposing it right now is considered as enemy. Seriake Dixon, who speaks in support of the, what do you call it, in support of the Thiefnubu's tax reform. Do you know that they passed this second reading now? The next one you are going to hear is that they passed it into law. So once Tinubu comes back from France on Saturday, or latest by Monday, they go down pass Sam. Tinubu will sign it into law. You see all those northerners who are in support of it are being paid, bribed. Now so it will come be like carnival. Our kaluju everybody. To what kaluju everybody? Politics our bere. Here is Seriake Dixon from Bayelsa in support of the new tax reform. Please watch. Let's come back to Nigeria now.
The President, I rise to lend my voice to the motion that these bills introduced by the executive as part of a comprehensive tax reform in our country be read a second time. In doing so, Mr. President, I remind us that by our rules, at this stage, we are to discuss the general principles and not specific details and provisions. And I rise to say that I agree in general the need for a comprehensive tax reform in our country. We don't have an economy that is taxation-based and taxation-driven. It's an economy that is sometimes difficult to track, sometimes difficult to predict. And that's not the best for us. In our system, if you look at the tax ratio, even in African countries, our tax reliance is just about 7% or even less, 7% of our population. Compared to the GDP, the tax to GDP ratio, this country is one of the least. And that doesn't speak to progress, it speaks to stagnation and backwardness. Even the African ratio is 15% tax to GDP. And it's understandable because the founding fathers of this country based economies pre-independence on taxation. Even taxing cattle, they called it jangale in the north. And people were paying. They could plan the economies. And that was when they did major things in all regions. But all of that changed, Mr. President. The moment oil was discovered in the creeks of the Niger Delta, 1957-58, Nigeria found free money in the creeks of the Niger Delta. And we left taxation, just as we left agriculture and manufacturing. So that's where we are. So the attempt by the current administration to let the governments of Nigeria, all levels, they run on tax and tax revenue is something that I fully support. I am aware that some issues have been raised, and that is legitimate. We're a country of diverse people, diverse cultures, diverse expectations, and that's the beauty and the greatness of Nigeria. We cannot expect to be a country that speaks with one voice or sees things only from one perspective. All those are legitimate. Observations and fears and expectations. All we're expected to do is to harness all of this and enact laws in the national interest, which I believe, following our rules, after the second reading, at the committee stage, when the public hearing is held, everybody who has anything to say will be invited to say, as the chairman of the committee has said. Now, there are issues I am concerned with. Some of these issues that have been raised are also as a result of insufficient consensus building and consultation prior to the introduction. And it's understandable, as a former governor, why some governors express concern at the neck. That is legitimate. That consultation should have taken place. And I believe between now and at the end of our legislative activities, more consultations will happen. But that does not detract from the essence of the legislations that have been sent to us. For example, there is emphasis on derivation according to taxation. And the attempt now is to encourage states to be productive. And why not? A situation where states will abandon their core responsibility to create an enabling environment, attract investment, promote economic activities, so that that state can boost its revenues. That's a good thing. That's not a bad thing. I am concerned from where I come from the experiences you and I have, where oil workers are flown into oil platforms in Akwa Ibom, in Eket and Ibono, in Akwa Ibom, or flown into Bonny and other areas in River State, or flown into Brass in Bayelsa and in southern Niger area, and in Delta State in Ogola and Foropa, Ogola and Fokadus. We're interested that this is an opportunity for the payee taxes from those oil workers to be calculated and paid to the oil producing states where those activities are generated, as against being calculated and paid to where the head office is located, as has been the case, where the tax is registered. And from the general principles underlying this bill, as I explained yesterday, there is a move and a commitment by the executive to address that issue of revenue derivation, to ensure that payee taxes, even for the oil workers that are flown in and flown out every day other than work, or 2 days, be calculated and paid. If that is done, I think that is a good move that should be supported. The other area in VAT, according to derivation, when we get to the committee stage, we'll look at the specific details. But there's nothing wrong in saying that the telephone calls that are made in Bayelsa or Akwa Ibom or Sokoto or Kano, the VAT on those things that are consumed be calculated and paid to those states. And we are told that that is the essence of these bills. And there's nothing wrong about it. Because VAT is a consumption tax. It's not a production tax. Those who are in the states who consume services, the VAT accruing to those should be calculated and paid. So I'm sure when we look at the details, we'll see whether there's enough mechanism to guarantee transparency and accuracy in terms of administration. Those are some of the things we'll fine-tune. So, Mr. President, this is a good move, and there is an effort also to reduce the burden of taxation on Nigerians. Corporate taxes by the proposal. You read the bills. There's a proposal to reduce corporate taxes from next year, reducing it from the 30% that it is currently to 25%.
Now, see, I am not going to use their fancy words. Somebody said, why is Ndume angry about this tax reform? Like some other people are in support of it. So I'm not going to use all these their terminologies and I'm just going to use a layman explanation here. And I hope it will explain it better. I mean, you understand it, okay? in Nigeria, the system is about robbing Peter to pay Paul. But it works in a way that the northern Nigeria, right, which has grown lazy over the years, right? It works in a way that it works in their own interest more. While the southern part of Nigeria, which to some extent too was a little bit favored, a little bit. And what does that mean? It's in two ways. The resources that is sustaining Nigeria is from the southern part of Nigeria, like the oil, the gas. All right. However, the northern Nigeria, which is considered the biggest, when it comes to when all money is taken, taken in, right? Like the import tariff, crude oil sales, gas, then taxes, which mostly is from the southern part of Nigeria as well. So this whole money will be put together in a jar, like the federal government will collect this money. State also collects their own money too, okay, by law. But the chunk of the taxes is collected by the federal government. So now once they put all this money in a jar, they will begin to share the money according to population. But there are other things that they have added over time, like if we are taking this also amount of money from your side, for example, the crude oil and gas. So we will give the oil producing states 13% of the oil that we take from your states. So River State is the state with the highest contribution to this crude oil or review. Next to it is Bayelsa. Sorry, no, I think next is Delta. Then after Delta, Bayelsa. After Bayelsa, then you go to Akwa Ibom, you go to Imo and all these others, right? But from the money they are taking in, okay, Thiefnubu's reform is now kind of like a little bit different from what it used to be, where they share money based on population, okay? So if not for the fact that they have what's called 13% derivation, formula, some of these oil producing states, they don't have population like some of these northern states, okay? So they would have been given almost peanuts, almost nothing. But when they fought for it, they were able to get some chunk from that percentage of their contribution. So similarly, there's something called the VAT, which is consumption tax. It is collected. It is meant to be collected by the states, but they fought it and it became a federal thing. That the federal government is the one that imposes VAT on everything you buy or use. So, consumption tax, all right? But there are other taxes. I'm coming to the consumption now. You see, the oil producing states, the oil companies operating in those places, they do not have their head offices and all that in those places. They are in Lagos. So they don't pay taxes to those states. They pay their corporate taxes to Lagos. So imagine Shell. I'm just using this, imagine a Shell company that is making, or that is pumping, let's say, 20 million barrels of crude oil a year in Niger Delta. And they are declaring profits of, for example, $2 billion profits in 2023. And they have to pay the tax on that money, not to River State, not to Bayelsa, not to Delta State, but they pay it to Lagos, where they are not drilling any single drop of oil. but they pay it to Lagos, corporate tax. MTN, for example, which has over 60 million or 70 million. I'm just using some numbers to make you understand now. So MTN have, let's say, 70 million subscribers. But in Lagos, they only have maybe 10 million. Or let's say they have 100 million subscribers. But in Lagos, they only have 10 million. For all the MTN users all over Nigeria, whenever they load their card, right? So the VAT on that card, for example, you load 1,000 naira, right? The VAT is 7.5%. So 75 naira from every 1,000 naira you load goes to the federal government. But when MTN want to declare their own profits, they pay their corporate tax to Lagos. They don't pay, the VAT they remove there, right? Goes to, it's sort of accounted as being from Lagos. So if they have, for example, let's say they have 1 trillion naira, and then the VAT from that is 70 billion naira. So that 70 billion naira is not recorded, is not distributed according to all of you who uses the MTN all over Nigeria. It is accounted for Lagos, where they always file in their tax return. So that makes Lagos so rich, even though most of the money is not made from Lagos. You get that now? So what this tax reform is now doing is that this money should now be distributed, okay? Should be distributed to the states according to their usage, not to Lagos. That the same way the MTN headquarters is in Lagos, right? It should have all their offices in all the states in Nigeria, file their tax return based on what they are making in those states, not put everything in Lagos. The oil companies should not file their tax return or their corporate tax in Lagos. They should file their taxes where they are making the money from, the Niger Delta. So if that then happens, right, it simply means those states will have all their money from taxes to them, while the states like Northern Nigeria will have to be creative, okay? Because it will no longer be sharing of money based on the population as collected by the federal government, and they will be sharing money to everybody. You know, where, for example, Zamfara is contributing 100 million a year, where it's collecting 5 billion naira or collecting 10 billion naira a year, even though now only 100 million they contributed. Kano cannot be contributing, for example, right? Contributing 5 billion a year, but Kano is collecting like 40 billion a year. Here you get now. So what Thiefnubu is now saying is doing is that, you see all this money, we will collect it now, and we will now redistribute them. We will give 60% to every state based on whatever we collect from your state, and the federal government will take 40% of that money. So this is now where Ndume comes in. So to somebody like Ndume, this is not the time to do this. Not now that the northern Nigeria has been ravaged by terrorism. So they don't have any means, any source of anything. Even if they decided that, even as they are saying that, but we will give you your VAT based on the number of population of people using internet, using the phone in your state. They say, no, it won't still be enough. Because if you do that, okay, it will still favor the southern Nigeria more than the north. Because the business activities, the economy of northern Nigeria has been destroyed beyond anything. So if you want to do it, first thing first, they must make sure that the economy of northern Nigeria is fully back. Because the North cannot succeed or survive if the North have to live within their means. Does that make any sense yet? So that is why you will see some from the North. Their own argument is that it makes sense. You know, it makes sense now. Let us just kind of like brace up. Let's live up to, here you get. I mean, look at all these things. So it means that if we have any business in operating in northern Nigeria, we just make sure that they pay their taxes to the North, not pay it to Abuja or pay it to Lagos government. So that is, you know, here is one of them in his own argument. Excuse me, in his own arguments is Maiyegun from northern Nigeria.
Distinguished Senator Maiyegun.
Distinguished President of the Senate, senators, with all due respect to distinguished Senator Dume, who was my minority leader in the House of Reps, a leader in the Senate, and immediate first whip of the Senate with all the cognate experience of lawmaking. I beg to disagree with him that this bill should be withdrawn first and consultation should be held with the Nigerian Governors Forum and traditional rulers. We have a procedure which is clearly and unambiguously stated in our rule book for the process of lawmaking. And the Constitution, in a very clear and unambiguous terms, gave us the powers to regulate our proceedings. Section 60. And pursuant to Section 60 of the 1999 Constitution as amended, we gave these rules to ourselves in order to guide our proceedings. And then the process of lawmaking is very clear and unambiguous as per this book, that second reading, it will be now transmitted to the committee for public hearing. In the course of the public hearing, Nigerians of all walks of life, of all groups, will come and aggregate, including the governors and traditional rulers, are free to come and ventilate their opinion.
And Governors Forum.
Yes, that's why, including the Governors Forum and traditional rulers, are free to come and ventilate their opinion as to the pros and the cons of the bill before the public hearing, so that our committee will now look at the various submissions, aggregate it, and then bring it for clause by clause consideration. So this procedure that Senator Dume, with all this due respect, has suggested is foreign to the process of legislative exercise, and therefore is purely academic and should not be considered.
But not rhetoric.
Not rhetoric. It's an academic exercise, not worthy of legislative consideration. It's an academic exercise not worthy of legislative consideration. So, Mr. President, having said that, my contribution on the general principles of the bill is that this bill, as it is proposed, I am particularly on the issue of reducing the tax burden on Nigerians, removing VAT on food, medicals, education, pharmaceuticals, and electricity were exempted from VAT. So this bill is novel, it's pro-people, because it's trying to reduce the tax burden on Nigerians, so that it is the big earners that are going to be taxed for the purpose of. Then with regard to the issue of KE, people that are not earning more than the minimum wage are also exempted from pay-as-you-earn tax. This will also go a long way in reducing the tax burden on Nigerians. And then with regard to the issue of company income tax that was reduced from 30 to 25%, it's equally good, because that will give an opportunity for the companies to employ more Nigerians and what have you. So on that general principle, Mr. President, distinguished senators, I support that this bill should go for second reading.
So they just put some little jara in, like if you are not earning 800,000 naira a year, they won't tax you. So you get, let's say you are just earning 50,000 naira, they will not tax you. But if you are earning 70,000 naira minimum wage, which simply means that you are likely going to be earning like maybe 75, 80,000, something like that. So in a year, that is more than 800,000 naira. So they will tax you and take, I think 30% or 25% of that from you. Company tax is also that if there is if your company is not making up to, I think it's 5 million naira a year, they won't tax you. These are just some little jara that makes it look like, oh, this is not bad. But it's like going to be like escape from this and you get caught in the other. When this, what do you call them? When these businesses are caught in the tax net, the tax, what have you, right? They will kind of push it on you, the consumers. So the rant of Ndume today is different from his rant yesterday. So this was his rant earlier today on top the matter.
Mr. President and distinguished colleagues, I'm Senator Ndume, representing Borno South. Mr. President, as you said and as we discussed, reforms is necessary if we have to move forward. Even in our lives, we look at where you are, where you want to be, and how you want to be, so that you get there. I am not against reforms. And I'm not against these reforms, tax reform. My problem is number one, the timing. The timing as it is today, when you talk about reforms to Nigerians, whether it's good or bad, they misconceive it. And as we said, I just want to add to what distinguished Senator Sekibo, Tareke Dipo said, Senator Dixon said, he talked eloquently and explained so many things. There are 4 things or 3 there. What? As you said, the time for that would be at the public hearing or when we pass it second reading. But let it be on record that my problem with the bills, I've said 1, that is the timing. Number 2, the issue of derivation made the reform contagious, contaminated, and contradictory in some cases, because the Constitution has to be amended in order for some of these proposals to be effective. I'm glad we are doing constitutional review. So even if it means reviewing the Constitution, this is general principles. As you said, or as the Senate has decided, we should not throw away the baby with the bathwater. I would have preferred we remove the baby and throw away the water first. And that is to go with what the governors and NEC proposed, that this bill should be withdrawn so that, and they are not saying that the bill should be killed. No. You withdraw the bill, work on it, and then submit it to the National Assembly again after getting the buy-in of the governors and NEC, and even our traditional rulers. Mr. President, let's be honest to ourselves. If we sit down here, work on these bills, assuming as it is now, because the governors have not come out publicly to change their position. The traditional rulers have not sat down publicly to change their position. NEC have not sat down to change their position. And for me, as I said, I looked at the bill. The bill contains so many good things, but these two things, derivation and VAT, even though you say it will be addressed at the public session, it's not something that many of us will agree to it. You started by saying, we are going to negotiate, which is good, and it's coming from you. But why don't we negotiate first before we come out to take a position? The tax, something that looks attractive, may not necessarily be that. Because if you transfer or you move people from lower income from VAT, and then you increase their taxes, the corporate taxes, the person that is manufacturing that goods will now transfer the VAT cost to it. So it means you gave him with the right hand, and it was taken, or it's taken on the left hand. Secondly, the corporate tax you are talking about, when you remove the lower income, which is good, but then in the bill, it's a 50 million to billion, 25%. They reduce it from 30% to 25%. If a small person or medium enterprising company makes up to 50 million per year, and you are charging him the same percentage with companies that are earning billions and declaring billions of profit. I give you an example back. So the person that is in a way managing to manufacture shoes and his turnover turns up to be 50 million, you are charging him the same with somebody that is sitting down with pen and paper. Read it, and you see.
Senator Ndube, you have 30 seconds. You have 30 seconds to conclude.
I don't know whether that is fair, Mr. President.
On the general principles of the bills, you have 30 seconds.
So, in conclusion, Mr. President, the third problem I mentioned, if the people, through the governors, and then the NEC and the traditional rulers say that the bill should be withdrawn, make some necessary amendments, and then bring it back, and we can pass it in 24 hours. That is my position, Mr. President.
Noted.
Alaye, it is a foregone issue. Thiefnubu wants it passed because they need to show to the World Bank that they are going to be able to pay their debts or service their debts. You see all those fancy words, all those talk around it. It is just to, kind of like trying to formalize, make it like a sort of a formalizing it. Thiefnubu cannot be trusted. And that is enough for anyone to know that it is not in the interest of Nigeria. But if you look at the brighter side, depends on the way the side of the pendulum you belong. If you are from the southern part of Nigeria, who has been pretty much tired of this robbing Peter to pay Paul, which is the basic essence of Nigeria anyway. then you will likely just fall in line with Thiefnubu's reform. It's called the tax reform. That's make it sounds like it no go be like baboon they walk, monkey they walk, baboon they chop of the thing. Ndume is fighting for his life, and he is right on the side. After this their tax reform, they are going to need to also amend the constitution, which is the basic ingredient or the instrument of sharing the Nigeria, money. Or it's with Thiefnubu. That's why I was like, when Thiefnubu is done, the northern Nigeria will probably beg that there is nothing left. Maybe we could break up this contraption, maybe. But that won't mean that it's going to put more money into developing you that are from the south as well. Well, I'll leave it at that. He went on. This guy actually really said it better, okay? So he went on to Shewin's program this evening, and he added this too.
It's on record. And I said there during the session, I think it was open, that it should be noted that it's not that I'm totally saying that we should throw away the baby with the bathwater. But since the governors, who are our leaders, the National Economic Council, and many individuals have said that it is not that we should throw away the bill. No. We draw the bill, do more consultations, and then bring the bill again. Shehu, allow me to talk. Why are they in a hurry? The governors must have looked at the bill, even if they didn't. The National Executive Council made up of 36 governors. And the traditional rulers. Please pay attention to this. I'm listening to you. If they say this thing is not good, even by our culture, even if this thing is good, when your father or your Oba or your leader have taken a decision, just because you are a senator or member of House of Rep, remember that each state has 3 senators, but they have only 1 governor. These governors sat down collectively, and then some of these young people will come to tell us, like yesterday they were using a language which I did not take lightly too. See, I'm 65 years old. I schooled in Nigeria. I schooled in America. And if you know, I am a Pi Kappa Pi of my university, University of Toledo, Ohio in 1990. That is a big privilege. Go and check all these people that are saying they are in America, they are from Harvard. What does it take to be admitted into Pi Kappa Pi? Yet, because I'm wearing abada, because I'm from Borno State, some people will call me arrogant. I mean, ignorant. If it is even arrogant, I will take it. One of the aides called me ignorant. But I didn't respond to it because during his first statement, he also said controversial and brilliant. So how can you be brilliant and be ignorant? The other one said that I'm lazy. We went to the same school. He knows his performance. He knows mine. I taught in the Polytechnic for 20 years before I joined politics. I married 2 of my daughters to Yoruba, one from Lagos and one from State, Kwara. Yet, I'm called Hausa man. Because of what? Naivety of some people. Here we are with too many political undertakers, and they are doing damage to Mr. President. The president is trying, and he's performing. Within 2 years, he has some things that he did, which is commendable.
Alaye, you on your own. They are doing exactly what Thiefnubu asked them to do. By the time they are done with all of now, majority of you will probably leave politics forever. And not just that. Some of your people too, they will come for you. So somehow, you know, you can smell the aroma. The whole thing is coming. It's coming home. It is coming home. There is no more free beer parlor. I be waiting Thiefnubu said that time, free beer parlor anymore. There is no free beer parlor anymore. The northern Nigeria, which has thrived on terrorism, destruction, as a drain pipe to Nigeria, and the criminal politicians who have used that as their own political negotiation tool. They are about to tell their people what is about to befall them. It will be when Thiefnubu and gang, when they are done, that these northern, politicians will likely understand what has befallen them. It is a two-edged sword. However, it's like a sweet, sour situation. I want to see the end of it. That is why I'm covering it myself. The guy who is the head of the committee is from northern Nigeria. So when Ndume wants to sound like he's doing this, even though he's not coming straight, just say it. We will suffer. The northern Nigeria will be the one to right? He's not saying it like that. Eventually, he's going to. The person who is the Senate committee chairman on this taxation, appropriation, I don't know. Issa Abimusa something. They've concluded, they've made up their mind. They've all been paid enough to ensure that whatever Thiefnubu asked must be approved. Everything. No question asked. His own words.
My dear colleagues, this bill, I believe, is coming at a time when Nigeria is trying to reform its economy so that we meet the standards that other advanced economies have reached. As a committee which I chair, that's Finance Committee, I know we are going to be reposed with responsibilities. And our responsibilities, we are going to do it and to discharge it to the best interest of Nigerians. What these bills entails is good for this country. And anywhere we see it necessary, and if it's necessary to do the needful in terms of giving Nigeria a legislation that will carry every sector of this country, we will do it. We will give these bills all the necessary legislative processes it requires, such as public hearing. We'll call for memoranda from all sectors. The Manufacturers Association of Nigeria, regional groupings, we will call for memoranda. And then at the end of the day, we will do a retreat with experts, tax experts and consultants, so that we will be able to give this bill the real legislative procedure in passing it. So I believe that our distinguished colleagues will give this bill the necessary support to pass the second reading. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, sir. You're welcome, sir. In year 2001, when the Niger Deltans started pushing for resource control, derivation arguments, Obasanjo told them that if they wanted it to happen, they would need to use some northerners. And that's exactly what they did. They picked some certain northern senators, lawmakers. They paid them. And they were there. They argue back and forth, back and forth. Not until after they approved the 13% derivation formula for the oil producing communities that they realized that it will reduce what they were supposed to be getting from the National Assembly, from the national cover. So Obasanjo helped. And some of them still feels like the money coming from Niger Delta, nobody should get any special treatment. It must be shared equally. In this instance, there are some northerners that they have told, right, that, which is kind of true, that if to say the North is using its full potential and did not grow lazy, dependent, and became a parasite on Nigeria, where they have been using terrorism to drain and drag Nigeria backward. They have all they need, that they don't need all these taxes nonsense that they are, you know. They could be one of the richest. That's what Peter Obi told them. Peter Obi said, the northern Nigeria has what it takes to be the richest region than those who are making money from oil, that they could make so much money from agriculture, right? Times 100 of what oil is going to give them. And he's right. He said every time he sees the arable land in northern Nigeria, he just sees a waste, you know, like a, you know, the waste of money. Like it's like this is money wasting away. That the North was supposed to be producing so much food that the whole world. I mean, look at Ukraine. Ukraine has been, Russia-Ukraine war has been going on now for how many years? Nearly 2 years. But Ukraine is still supplying grains, donating grains to Nigeria. And Nigeria is like times 5 the size of Ukraine, or maybe times 6 of the size of the Ukraine. Country where they fight war, they donate food to country where pretended to be at peace. But because they will always go to Abuja and collect money, some of this money, they will share the money and give them to terrorists, terrorizing the region, destroying their economy. So this may be their own wake-up call too. Maybe, I'm just saying. Maybe not. So some of them are already saying maybe Thiefnubu doesn't want second term. That's why he's doing what he is doing. He should forget second term. He should forget this. When I don't get any power per se, okay, to stop Thiefnubu, if all of us are being honest. Because you see, you may have that sense of nonsense that make you think you are the one who elected. You did not elect Thiefnubu. Nobody elected Thiefnubu to be president in Nigeria. Yeah, he bought his way, he forced his way, he compromised, through the compromised institutions in Nigeria. That's how he became your president. Yes, that is the truth, not your vote. And your vote cannot remove him. So, except if you will do what you normally do best, which I don't think you even have that capacity to disrupt him. He doesn't care. He is not Jonathan to start with. Thiefnubu is not Jonathan. You can kill yourself, you can go to anywhere and he doesn't care. Just like Bokwari didn't give a hoot about anything. So the situation right now is like a sweet sour. Everyone is receiving the Thiefnubu's shege. There's no reprieve for anybody. Not now, not later. But just who knows? Maybe this is also going to help the easy breakup of that contraption. Ask me why. Ask me how. Nigeria is still existing today because of the money they are sharing. Once that money start drying up, there will be nothing interesting about Nigeria for them anymore. I mean, there will probably be nothing interesting anymore. Except if they stage a coup, and that coup that will then throw out whatever amendment or whatever it is that Tinubu changed the constitution to. And if any coup happen in Nigeria now, with any Fulani or Hausa or whatever, any northerner that says, fellow Nigerians, it will lead to a civil war. Don't let anybody deceive you. I know you don't have, I mean, you may not believe me on that. Like, why you going to forget? If any coup happen right now, people, it will lead to a civil war. Except a kind of coup that will see to the killings of all of these politicians. Do you get what I mean? Like the kind of coup that will target all the state governors, all the politicians, Thiefnubu, everybody, shitty man, all of them, and then just buy them. Nobody to escape. Maybe that can just be something that will be like, okay, maybe. Sure, you get. These guys, because this is the first time in the history of that contraption that their democracy lasted more than 5 years. It's been on now for 25 years. And the most harmed group of people in Nigeria today are the politicians who have their own non-commissioned armies that they give different weapons to. They have so much money to destabilize anywhere and everywhere. So any coup that happens in that contraption today is going to lead to a civil war. And I'm not going to lie to you. Somebody like me, right? I would not be on the side of any coup that is coming from northern Nigeria again, except if you are going to put a southerner as the head of the coup. Forgive my sentiments, because there's something about the north, the criminal northerners. It is their born to rule mentality. They cannot live outside power. They can't live without power. So every time they are out of power, it is always like the world is going to collapse. The world must collapse. This, you know what I mean? And I am not going to be naive again in my life to believe that one fancy soldier from northern Nigeria will take over government in Nigeria and I will scream and say, Eureka, again, never. Here you get. So that is why I would rather that all of them come to that conclusion of let us break up this contraption. Everybody, they go there. Maybe they go your way, maybe they go our way. So I'm saying this to you, brethren, so that you don't fall into the trap of a thinking if they stage any coup in that contraption. You don't mind anybody. No, you have to mind. The North cannot live without power. And they will do everything, right, to justify why they can take the power back, even though it will never serve anyone, not the people, not their own people, not Nigeria, but their own selfish selves. So if there's going to be any coup in Nigeria, it's either you put an Igbo man there or put another Southerner there. I'm just saying. And that is something that the northern Nigeria will never settle for. If they are going to stage a coup, it must be them. A Fulani man must be the next president. It's not going to happen. So that's why I said that it will just lead to another civil war. People like us will raise the flag of support for the breakup of that contraption with violence, by the way, if that should happen. So right now, the North, they are scheming, they are doing all they can to make it look like they are a victim But when they had the chance, when they had the chance of actually ameliorating the problems of their own people, they make it worse. That's what happened. They made it worse. Bukwari destroyed Nigeria to this point. Thiefnubu is just finishing the job. So if Thiefnubu's actions pushes them to kind of realize that Nigeria is no longer worth it, they should promote the breakup of that contraption. Break it up. Everybody, they go their separate ways. As for Thiefnubu, they are not reforming anything. They are just merely doing business.
They are not running the country. They are doing business. Occasionally, they get distracted with governmental duties. But their primary business, they are just business people. And they think, that's why they are trying to run petroleum industry rather than, have a regulatory framework. They're not running the economy. They're not running government. They're just trying to, they don't see you and me as citizens. They see us as customers. So they are mercantile in their approach. So they see you, oh, you're a customer. I can get extra money from you by hoarding petrol. I can get extra money from you by underfunding public education. So they're not really to do anything. And they're not willing to comply with Chapter 2 of the Constitution, which stipulates how governance should be done in Nigeria. What the responsibility of government. Call anybody in government. They are not responsible for anything. Right. Because the Minister of Water Resources is not responsible for whether you have water or not. The Minister of Education is not responsible for educational outcome, whether the student fail WAEC, fail JAM. It's not responsible. The Minister of Health is not responsible for the life expectancy or medical outcomes. They are just carrying this title to enable them to put their signature to award contracts. But they're not, beyond that, they're not going to do anything. Remember that in the past, Lagos had the best water in all the English-speaking world. Lagos. Yeah. Better than London, Brisbane, Ottawa, anywhere. Nobody is giving water to anybody. Before, we had the best hospitals. UCH Ibadan used to come first or second. Okay. The entire English-speaking world. They're not doing any of those things. So we have people who are in power, but they're not in government.
They're in power, but not in government, because government is responsible to the for the people's well-being. But those ones are just in power. That's exactly what you have in that contraption. Talking about power. This young man has a message for the EFCC chairman over their consistent illegal raids, especially in Ibadan metropolis.
So, this is to the EFCC and also to the EFCC chairman in person of Mr. Ola Olukoyede concerning these statements that he made some months ago, saying they've banned late-night raids by the operatives. But it is so unfortunate that up till now, these operatives still raid people's house. So just yesterday night, overnight, some operatives were in Akobo in Ibadan, and they raided a lot of houses, taking away a lot of cars, arresting a lot of people. And that is not even my problem. My problem is they went to someone's house, and getting there, the security refuses to open the door because he was so shocked that who are these people that are knocking their gates with sledgehammers? Who are these people? Are they thieves or what? So the security man refuses to open the door. And they had to break the security man's house. Coming into the house, they had to beat the security. Just look at the way they beat this guy. Just imagine. And after gaining access into the house, they met the occupants of the house, and unfortunately, there was no Yahoo boy in the house. And they asked all of them to submit their phones, which they did. They checked their phones, they didn't see anything. And they said, why this kind of house go fine like this and Yahoo boy no go dey inside? And this is so sad. Because I can't imagine like you see a fine house and the next thing that will come to your mind is that there must be a Yahoo boy there. And for sure now, you guys are just walking without no evidence, without no intelligence, nothing. You just raid people's houses like the way you want. Not like you have intelligence that, okay, that house, that is what they do there, that they do fraud. They were about taking those people's cars. And those people said, no, you can't take our cars because we are not into fraud. One of the occupants of the house is in Canada. He's not in the country. And that one was seeing them in the CCTV camera already. And now they want to take away their cars. And those ones said, no, you can't take away the cars. At the end of the day, they had to leave. And they've already spoiled their properties. Who is going to be responsible for that? Is this how we'll be living in our own states, in our own country? You will be sleeping, you will not be able to close your eyes because anything can happen. You can just say, and the whole thing will scatter. Is this how we'll be living in our country? And the chairman said they've banned late night operations. So is it that they don't listen to the chairman, or the chairman is only saying this for saying purpose? Because I believe the chairman cannot instruct them not to go and raid people's houses, and they will go and do it on their own. Now, a lot of people will be spending their Christmas with them. A lot of people that are not even involved in fraud will be spending their, because once they arrest you, they will not even leave you. Even if you are not involved, they will make sure they delay you very well, that you have the trauma. This is so sad. The EFCC chairman, please, kindly look into this. Kindly look into this. It is not until people start turning to them and start fighting them back. This agency should be one agency that people will be so scared of, that, you know that once they have something on you, but not like they will just do random busting and just arrest people, whether you are guilty or not. They will just take you. Bless.
That's one thing that scares shit out of me, among many others. It gives me a bit of a PTSD. I won't lie to you. A friend of mine, right, traveled to Nigeria, and he lodged in an hotel in Lagos, somewhere around Omole, or what's that place called again? Around Omole. And in the middle of the night, the EFCC came to that hotel, and they marched everyone inside the hotel out. They were busting rooms because they received an intel that some internet fraudsters, Yahoo boys, lodged in the hotel. So if that was even true, that means your intel should be able to tell you which room they are staying. I mean, if you are looking for a certain people. And that's not the first time I have seen something like that. Before he experienced that himself, I've seen it in their reports where they will bust hotels. And in the middle of the night, when guests are supposed to be in their rooms, and they march everybody out. You will think they are actually armed robbers, robbing people in hotel. Hotel was supposed to be like a safe place, but not in Nigeria, not with the EFCC. They marched my guy out in the middle of the night. The trauma, he still get the trauma like 4 or 5 years later. The trauma is still with him till now. That he will be sleeping in his own room here. I mean, in his house here. He will be sleeping and he will just jump up like that. He's at the therapy, is met with counselors to have counseling, is being treated of this, but the PTSD still lives with him up to this day. He never went back to that Nigeria since then. You talk about Nigeria, it's like, oh, please don't talk about Nigeria here. Imagine you are just in your room, just came back from abroad, and inside your hotel room, they march you out with other guests, some of them in their nightgowns, some of them in their boxers, some of them naked, that they just had to drag, just draw something to just put on and all of that. Only because they are doing random rating. They will never change. It is a rotten system. And if you encounter them by any means, you will never wish that on your worst enemies, ever. That's how bad it is. You will never wish it on your worst enemies. But they will never do that to these criminal politicians. They will never ask the criminal politicians who loot billions to carry placard or carry board like they have of so many of you that they have paraded if you can't pay them or bribe them the amount they are demanding for. In Nigeria. And like that, my guy just said, it doesn't matter if you are not guilty. Once they take you to their station or take you to their place, take your property and the rest of that, they can even force you to write a statement to say that you are a fraudster in order to blackmail and extort you. That too happens. You know? Here is their police force releasing a statement on the corrupt police officers which they have apprehended for different crimes. Let me show you.
Address a particular case of job racketeering, where 4 suspects were arrested for forgery, job racketeering, and impersonation. And then as the police operatives in some states foiled kidnapping attempts, particularly in Katsina and Kaduna State. Following a report received from the Office of the Special Assistant to the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria and subsequent extensive intelligence gathering, operatives of the IGP Special Investigation Unit Abuja here have apprehended 4 suspects alleged of criminal conspiracy, forgery of official documents, job racketeering, impersonation, and obtaining money under false pretense. The suspects identified as Kuzeafa Tafida, male, Zakari Abdullahi, male, Abdullahi Baba, male, and Adeyemo Morufu, male, belong to a syndicate involved in forging classified documents emanating from government agencies and organizations in the bid to deceive unsuspecting victims and extort money from them under the guise of securing a job for them at the prestigious Nigeria Police Academy within in Kano and other agencies of the federal government. The first and second suspects, Kuzaifa Tafida and Zakari Abdullahi, had forged a document resembling one emanating from the office of the National Chairman, All Progressive Congress, and another document with resemblance to one from the State House, Abuja. The deal then proceeded to present the document to the Office of the Inspector General of Police as recommendations in favor of 13 persons for Nigeria Police 2022 special recruitment. Upon receipt of these documents with suspicion, followed by a petition from the Office of the Special Assistant to the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, a discreet investigation was conducted, which led to the apprehension of Kusefa Tafida and Zakari Abdullahi. Further investigation led to the arrest of further suspects, and upon interrogation, the suspect confessed to their roles in the crime they committed. They admitted to forging documents from several government offices and individuals to defraud unsuspecting victims, promising them enlistment and jobs at various government agencies. Some forged classified documents, stamps, the sum of 1,700,000 naira, and other incriminating items were recovered from these suspects. With this new trend, members of the public are hereby advised to be wary of such fraudulent elements and avoid dealing with persons and individuals offering assistance, particularly job offers, outside of due process. In another development, and still part of the efforts of the Nigeria Police Force to combat any form of crime, the operatives of Nigeria Police Force attached to the GBR Divisional Police Headquarters in Katsina State intercepted a group of suspected armed bandits along the Magama GBR Road, where they had accosted and attacked 2 commercial vehicles in an attempt to kidnap the occupants. The police operatives engaged the bandits in a fierce gun duel which compelled the armed and dreaded bandits to flee, resulting in the foiling of the kidnap attempt and the rescue of 14 victims. Unfortunately, during the escape, 2 of the victims sustained gunshot injuries from the assailants, but they are now recuperating in the hospital. Similarly,
EFCC chairman still there for jail. Politician wey dey prove don enter for power. EFCC chairman still there for jail. Politician wey dey prove don enter for power. Ewo, EFCC chairman still there for jail. Politician wey dey prove don enter for power. Ewo, EFCC chairman still there for jail. Politician wey dey prove don enter for power. If you dey do government work, you go carry am for head, you. Maka one day, I got bokwa gite na ma o. In another government, you. You wayo, one day more. Ebukwa ya nishi, one day, I got bokite na ma o. Ewo, EFCC chairman, no dey for jail. Politician wey dey prove don enter for power. EFCC chairman, see the
politician wey dey probe don enter for power. Ewo. Sir Adebayo Onilere, thank you very much. Oh, I don't see your hand, and God bless you for your generosity. Thank you very much, sir. I appreciate that. Those are the Templars. I actually love the message too. You're like, Maiyegun, you are doing a great job. I know how hard it is for you. It is actually really, really demanding. So keep up. And thanks so much, for that. I really appreciate that too. Thank you so much, everyone, as well. So you can see that I didn't take calls, right? Because I've got this load of gist. And sometimes I just want to kind of like let everything out. It's like lifting everything out of my chest so that I don't go to bed and feel like, man, there are other things I wanted to say, but I just have to move it to the next day. Or do you wish I probably stopped like the usual time and then took calls, right? Did you wish that? Or are you tired? Are we tired? I still have like about 2 gists. They are like coming towards the end though, all right? So, but we'll take calls, all right? We'll take calls tomorrow. I promise. I promise. Thank you very much. Right, it's called a rich mindset. I love that. In Lagos, the chairman of Mushin local government is the latest local government that is acting on the directive of renaming streets, close markets, buildings, and all that from any name that is not Yoruba. They have to rename them back to Yoruba, even if they have to, I mean, is that called arrogant? No, it's not called arrogant. Anyway, it doesn't matter. Don't worry. So the Mushin local government chairman who controls the Ladipo markets. But I mean, I don't know. Is it just me, right? I know that in 2003, was it 2003 or 2004? There was this conversation around Ladipo markets, spare parts markets in Lagos. And even up till the time I left Nigeria, 12 years ago, Ladipo market was still Ladipo market. There is a part of Ladipo market called Aguyin Rossi International Market or spare parts market or something. So there was never a time I heard that Ladipo market was called Paramo market. I was born in Lagos. I have my families in Lagos who were also born and raised in Lagos. We even have our own streets in Lagos. And Ladipo, I mean, I grew up in Ilupeju. So Ilupeju is under Mushin local government area, right? So I never knew they call Ladipo, a part of Ladipo, Aguyin Rossi to start with. But there was never a time I kind of heard Mushin government called Ladipo. Was Ladipo even under Mushin again? Was it not under Oshodi? Okay, it was under Mushin, Ladipo market. So now, the Ajeromi Felodun local government area started renaming all the streets. Any streets named after Igbo had to be renamed to Yoruba. Remember that day when I did the program on that? So, the Paramo agreement at Ladipo was when Thiefnubu approved the extension of the Ladipo market, right? So there was this man who was given the approval to build, to extend the building of more stores in Ladipo back then. And the arrangement at the time was that the shop owners, which is the marketers or the traders in Ladipo, right? They were given the chance to invest in that arrangement. They were given the chance to invest, I think, 70% of the whole expansion. And then a demand that they gave the job to, Alaji something, I don't know, that they gave the job to had to like cover up at the remaining 30%. Okay. Well, there was never a time, I didn't even know it was Aguyin Rossi this until 2011 when there was this crisis that, was it 2011 or 2007 before Tinubu left? Yeah, I think it was 2007 before Tinubu left, that Tinubu had to shut down the entire market for a while, right? Because of this similar Igbo want to dominate us. Igbos should be removed from Lagos. It didn't start today. Unfortunately, these Igbo marketers or Igbo traders in Ladipo, when this expansion was approved to be done in 2003 or so, right? They were given the chance to actually build the extension, which was that they had about 70 to 77% of the expansion, which they built themselves. However, things are now back to pre-2007, where they believe that the Igbos must leave Lagos. Okay, even if they built this part of Lagos for their own business, it doesn't matter anymore. So starting with the name change. So they are now saying that they are reverting back to a name. I have never heard this name before. Have you? Maramo or something. Listen to the local government chairman though. Listen to him.
And according to the ESCO approval, that henceforth the Mushin local government one of the segments in Ladipo market, international spare part market, which was named as Paramount Market before, and all of a sudden changed to Agurusi International Spare Part Market, has been reversed to former name, which is Paramount Spare Part International Market, and in honor of the family of Paramount Azan Olajoko, which was the developer of Radioplay and died in the process of the activities of the party. So we are using this name to honor him again and refers to his name because of the struggle of the struggle of Mushin and struggle of Osun State government. In the process, he was killed in cold blood. So we are using this opportunity to use this name to honor him, so that in his memory, that is the situation. It has been referred back to Paramount Spare Part International Market. So henceforth. So that is the decision of the ESCO and the decision of the legislative arm of Mushin local government. And that's our resolution for now.
I mean, just say you want to, in the honor of them, because the story was that when this extension was now completed, 3 months after that, right, the man died. But the report of his death was not reported as that he was killed. But that local government chairman is saying that he was killed. But I don't know. But I mean, they can just say, you know what, we want to, in his memory, that the man died in 2000. I mean, this was years ago. The man died like as far back as 2004, 2005, like 19 years ago. Right? So if you say you want to honor him by putting his name on the international spare parts market, because you know Ladipo, I think Ladipo is like in two parts, Abi. The plank, the wood plank, and then the spare parts side. Okay, so the spare parts side, his name was named Aguyin Rosi International Spare Parts Market. Okay, it was never anything called Paramount. Never. It was no. The man was not even like until Thiefnubu actually gave him the slot to go and develop the part of that market, which was like government giving you the license, and then you can possibly just have investors team up with you, and then you build some block of shops. But 70 to 77% of the shops there, they are built by the traders who are already there. That was the arrangement. Here you get. So if you say you want to honor the man or honor the memory of the man, that is pretty much straightforward than say you want to revert back to a name that was never, ever used there. This is still part of the old game, okay? The Igbos must be cut down. And some of them are even saying, did you see any Yoruba streets in Igbo land? I was like, we'll begin to look now, because by the time we start looking now, we are just same way they said the Igbos don't accommodate foreigners. So how can you even be foreigner in your own country? That's something stupid, right? Anyway, the Rolukus were like, the Igbos, so they don't sell land. The Igbos, so they said they don't sell land. Now we figured out that they do, not only that they sell lands, there are Yoruba estate agents in eastern part of Nigeria, real estate, businessmen, Yorubas in eastern Nigeria, selling land, selling houses. Then not only that, that the Igbos were actually dashing their lands to their in-laws on record. And there are hundreds of thousands of Yorubas who are living in the eastern part of Nigeria, who are working in the civil service of eastern part of Nigeria, who are actually like a senior permanent secretary in eastern part of Nigeria. So maybe we should begin to look for Yoruba streets in eastern, because I bet you, even when you come up with the evidence of that, they will be like, hey, how many? So they want all the streets named after the Igbos in Lagos to be removed and replaced with Yoruba names, including markets. This APC. Okay? So some of them are even like saying now that Sanwo-Iku had to sack one of his aides that exposed the extrajudicial killings of the NSAS protesters. Since he's decided to sack Wale Ajetumobi, it is time for them now to begin to ask Sanwo-Iku about his projects. Uncle, you see this particular Oba Birin Aderonke Omo Ale Jati Jati, like if you are looking for somebody who is a miserable human being on social media, go and search for this girl's name online right now. See how, Uncle, now that you don't have loyalists anymore, we are at liberty to question all this your monkey in the shadow project. I'm running 3 months campaign on you because I know there is something wrong somewhere. So now they are now calling Sanwo-Iku Omoibo because they said Sanwo-Iku shouldn't have sacked the Kwara man who called GRV or Manambra, who said our Lagos is not your Lagos. Our Lagos. This is our Lagos. My Lagos, not your Lagos. And the way is from Kwara. Some of them are from Ijebu, my area. Egba, Oyo, Oshun. But they are there, tarnishing the names and the image of Yorubas in the name of politics. So now they are like, we begin to question your snake in the monkey shadow project in Lagos. Owolari, Arishe, which they have been, Lagos is mega shitty. All they do is take and collect taxes here and there. Pick your pocket as much as possible. And then, whenever they manage to do one small thing, they will exaggerate it enough that when you get to that Lagos, you'll be like, see now this same Lagos that they tell us online, say, Anyway, all of us will witness how the whole thing will play out. Now, this will be Latin called the Yale, which means now everywhere that they pack a chicken for nights. So go and look for your own chicken or chicken. Can I use chicken or na cock? No, na kukuruku like that. Say, as they are subjecting, so as they are weaponizing poverty in Nigeria for political gain. So are they doing as well in Kenya? In Kenya, in one of their presidential campaign, where William Ruto and his men, right, were mobilizing for Ruto, this video was made where Kenyans, impoverished Kenyans, were kind of like queuing and fighting for their own 200 shillings Kenya money. And they said not only that they share money, their political rallies, they share food too. I said, well, they are learning very well from the contraption, the giant of Africa, Nigeria. This is not Nigeria. This was Kenya. So that's a state government in Kenya sharing the money by himself in support of the president. Well, the bondage of weaponized poverty in Africa is massive. Sometimes you have to ask yourself, where are you going to start from to liberate our people? It's a long battle because we've come a long way to arrive at this sorry state. It's a long one. But giving up is not an option. You need to remember that. Okay? No matter how frustrating this whole thing looks, because a lot of people have given up totally, like, don't. Giving up shouldn't be an option. Something is going to give. Something is going to shift. We should just not give up. Okay? So, thank you very much. At this point, I think I have emptied my entire sack of goodies. So, thank you so much for spending your evening with me. I promise. Tomorrow, we shall have our normal interactive sessions, like, so I'll present, then you would react, to whatever it is presented. Just do me one favor, as you are leaving this room or leaving this temple this hour, like the broadcast, okay? Like it, share it. To let those who needed to see this, who need to see this, to see it. All right. And then when I return the next time, we shall continue from where we are actually rounding it up now. Good night, everyone.
Maiyegun làwa mọ̀ làmọ̀ tó dòdòdò. Maiyegun Diary, Maiyegun number one. Maiyegun làwa mọ̀ làmọ̀ tó dòdòdò. Maiyegun Diary, Maiyegun number one. Maiyegun ti dé o, ọ̀rẹ́ ará ìlú. Maiyegun Diary, Maiyegun number one. Lórí Facebook, lórí YouTube. Maiyegun Diary, Maiyegun number one. Gbogbo bó ṣe ń lọ ni Maiyegun já wa sí. Maiyegun Diary, Maiyegun number one. Àṣírí ọ̀jẹ̀lú kì í bò níbẹ̀ o. Maiyegun Diary, Maiyegun number one. Bó bá ṣe eré, àní Maiyegun máa wí. Maiyegun Diary, Maiyegun number one. Ó sì tún ṣe eré, wàá gbọ́ níbẹ̀ o. Maiyegun Diary, Maiyegun number one. Maiyegun Diary, Diary Politico. Maiyegun Diary, Maiyegun number one. Godfatherism, kò sí lọ́rọ̀ Maiyegun. Maiyegun Diary, Maiyegun number one. Ẹ farabalẹ̀ sẹ́ o, kẹgọ́rọ̀ lẹ́nu o. Maiyegun Diary, Maiyegun number one. Àní Maiyegun làwa mọ̀ tó dòdòdò. Maiyegun Diary, Maiyegun number one. Àní ẹ̀sùn rákì Maiyegun ti dé. Maiyegun ti dé.
Ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀ súnra kì.
Maiyegun ti dé.
Àní ẹ̀ súnra kì.
Maiyegun ti dé.
Lórí Facebook.
Maiyegun ti dé.
Àní ẹ̀ súnra kì.
Maiyegun ti dé.
Lórí YouTube.
Maiyegun ti dé.
Àní ẹ̀ súnra kì.
Maiyegun ti dé.
Ọba bá gbé wúrẹ́.
Maiyegun máa wí.
Àní ẹ̀ súnra kì.
Maiyegun ti dé.
Ijó ìgbádìyẹ.
Maiyegun máa wí.
Àní ẹ̀ súnra kì.
Maiyegun ti dé.
Presido bá rúfin o.
Maiyegun máa wí.
Àní ẹ̀ súnra kì.
Maiyegun ti dé.
Kíkó nìna kówó jẹ.
Maiyegun máa wí.
Àní ẹ̀ súnra kì.
Maiyegun ti dé.
Ọlọ́pàá tí ń darí bá.
Maiyegun máa wí.
Àní ẹ̀ súnra kì.
Maiyegun ti dé.
Aṣòfin tí ń rúfin o.
Maiyegun máa wí.
Àní ẹ̀ súnra kì.
Maiyegun ti dé.
Òwúrọ̀ olóṣèlú.
Maiyegun máa wí.
Àní ẹ̀ súnra kì.
Maiyegun ti dé.
Ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀ súnra kì.
Maiyegun ti dé.
Àní ẹ̀ súnra kì.
Maiyegun ti dé.
Maiyegun ti dé. Gbogbo ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀ súnra kì. Maiyegun ti dé. Gbogbo ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀ súnra kì. Ṣùgbọ́n ní bá ti ṣe èyí tó yẹ kí wọ́n ṣe, ọmọ bá dèrò ní fi wọ́n níran o.
Maiyegun ti dé. Gbogbo ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀ súnra kì. Maiyegun ti dé. Gbogbo ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀ súnra kì. Ṣùgbọ́n ní bá ti ṣe èyí tó yẹ kí wọ́n ṣe, ọmọ bá dèrò ní fi wọ́n níran.
Wọ́n fowó bẹ́ẹ̀ o, Maiyegun ó sọ pé wọ́n ò bẹ́ẹ̀. Wọ́n fowó bẹ́ẹ̀, Maiyegun ó sọ pé wọ́n ò bẹ́ẹ̀. Oníkan ṣáàtì ṣe èyí tó yẹ kí wọ́n ṣe, fáwọn ará ìlú tó gbé wọn débẹ̀ o.
Maiyegun ti dé. Gbogbo ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀ súnra kì. Maiyegun ti dé. Gbogbo ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀ súnra kì. Ṣùgbọ́n ní má ti ṣe yìí tó yẹ kí wọ́n ṣe, ọmọ bá dẹ́rọ̀ òní fi wọ́n níran.
Kì máa yí ṣeré, ọ̀rọ̀ yìí kì í ṣẹ̀fẹ̀. Kì máa yí ṣeré, ọ̀rọ̀ yìí kì í ṣẹ̀fẹ̀. Ẹni bá ti lè lẹ́bọ̀ lẹ́rù o, ọmọ bá dèrò kàṣàyè tú wọn síta.
Maiyegun ti dé. Gbogbo ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀ súnra kì. Maiyegun ti dé. Gbogbo ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀ súnra kì. Ṣùgbọ́n ní má ti ṣe yìí tó yẹ kí wọ́n ṣe, ọmọ bá dẹ́rọ̀ òní fi wọ́n níran.
Tẹnitẹni ọmọ Maiyegun ọ̀rẹ́ ara ìlú mọ̀mọ́ ni mo fọlọ́hún ṣọ́ ẹ̀ bá kìlẹ́bù. Lóòótọ́ olódodo ìlú ọ̀tá ìlú mọ̀mọ́ ni ìwọ ṣá máa ń ṣọ́ra kò sì mọ́ bẹ̀rù. Bọ́tà ń lè rí bóníṣègùn lé káwọ́ mọ̀mọ́ fi ṣera wọn ni ó ti dẹrùn tí wọn ò gbọ́dọ̀ sì mọ́ bẹ̀. Èèpo ọ̀gọ̀lọ́mọ bá dérò tàjẹ́ ò gbọ́dọ̀ jẹ́, ó ti dọba lórí àbínú ẹni kò sì mọ́ bùyà. Àìsíwọ̀lú ní ẹnìkẹ́ ìgbódì ẹyin lábàrá o, ó kó ẹni tó bá dán o àkàmù. Maiyegun ti dé. Gbogbo ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀ túnra kì. Maiyegun ti dé. Gbogbo ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀ túnra kì o. Ẹni bá ti ṣe èyí tó yẹ kí wọ́n ṣe, ọmọ bá dèrò òní fi